From Storm Tracker 6, this is Forecast First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Well, regardless of the rain and wind, we saw temperatures into the 60s today, 65 degrees in Lansing and Charlotte, 67 in Mason, and 68 degrees down into Jackson. We're also looking at temperatures into the 50s now as we continue to see the system move out of the area. We do have a wind advisory until 10 p.m. tonight, although it could expire earlier than that, so we'll keep an eye on that. Satellite radar is showing that those clouds and showers are continuing to pull to our east, and over the next couple of hours, we'll continue to see our temperatures slowly drop back down into the 40s. Winds calm down as well, and will be clear as we head into late tonight, early tomorrow morning. All the full details coming up in just a little bit. 6 News at 5:30 starts right now.
WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5:30.
Good Monday evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Siobhan Klepfer. We hit the clock on our first 6 minutes of news tonight in Kent County, where the murder trial of a former police officer charged with killing Patrick Lyoya is expected to begin soon. Jury selection is scheduled to start tomorrow. Former Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schur was on duty when he made a traffic stop on Lyoya back in 2022. In video released by police, the 26-year-old can be seen running away from Schur. The two men then fought over the officer's taser. Schur shot Lyoya in the back of the head during the struggle. He was charged with second-degree murder, while his attorneys say he fired in self-defense. Also in Kent County, a tractor-trailer driver was hit and killed by another vehicle while he was outside of his truck late Sunday night. The sheriff's office says the 43-year-old truck driver from Illinois parked his truck in the center turn lane of a road in Cascade Township. A 31-year-old Grand Rapids man was driving the vehicle that hit the truck driver, who was then taken to a hospital where he died. The exact cause of this crash is still being investigated. In Texas, Patrick Crusius, the man who killed 23 people in a racist attack at an El Paso Walmart store, pleaded guilty today to capital murder. The 26-year-old admitted he targeted Hispanics in 2019 when he opened fire in the store. At the time, it was crowded with weekend shoppers from the U.S. and Mexico. Lawyers for Crusius say he was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder and has suffered from mental illness for most of his life. They also say he was radicalized by extreme ideologies he found online. He's already been sentenced to 90 consecutive life terms at the federal level after pleading guilty to hate crimes and weapons charges. Police say a woman and her 12-year-old son died Saturday night in Oklahoma when they were swept away by a flood. During a night of severe weather, their vehicle and another were involved in a crash. It was then pushed by the flood under a bridge where it got stuck. First responders searched through the night, finding the mom and child's bodies on Sunday morning. The people in the other vehicle were rescued. Well, moving to Florida, where a Delta jet carrying 200 passengers caught fire today. There were no injuries reported. Officials say the fire started in one of the engines. Video of people using emergency slides to evacuate the Airbus A330 was posted online. No cause of the fire has been announced. Around the world, people are paying their respects to Pope Francis, who died today at the age of 88, and that includes the Church of the Most Blessed Sacrament in Detroit. Just 3 months ago, the Pope named Archbishop Edward Weisenberger to lead the Detroit Archdiocese. There are about 900,000 parishioners there, and one of them recalled seeing Pope Francis in Rome not long after his recent health problems.
When I seen him after he was sick in the Basilica, standing up there with the people after he had been sick, it just really touched my heart to see how strong and how God works.
The church is expected to hold a special mass for the Pope at 7 o'clock this evening. Meanwhile, Venezuelans held the annual Burning of Judas event on Easter Sunday. It's an Easter tradition in some parts of the world where an effigy of the biblical figure who betrayed Jesus Christ is set on fire. But this year, Venezuelans burned effigies of U.S. President Donald Trump and Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele. 288 Venezuelan migrants are being held in an El Salvador prison after being deported from the U.S. The White House is paying El Salvador to hold the migrants who President Trump says are violent gang members, although they were never tried in court. Back here in Michigan now, a drive-in movie theater in Monroe County has played its last movie. The owner made the announcement on social media saying thanks for the memories. Memory Lane Drive-In had only been open since 2021 and was the site of a former drive-in that closed in 1985. The owners blamed poor attendance, the rise of streaming services, and a lack of business at the concession stand. But according to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, there are still at least 8 drive-ins left in the state. They include the Capri Drive-In in Coldwater, the Ford Drive-In in Dearborn, and the US 23 Twin Drive-In in Flint. There are also drive-in theaters in Benzie County, Dowagiac, Muskegon, Sanilac County, and Van Buren County. According to official numbers, Michigan loves recycling. The Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy says this is the 4th consecutive year that the state set a record high for recycling. Officials say the state went from a recycling rate of about 14% before 2019 to now more than 25%. The amount of recycled material would weigh the same as 10 Mackinac bridges, according to the agency. And the state has a goal of a 30% rate by 2029. In Van Buren County, a man who won a $1 million prize in the Major Cash Words lottery game had a great hiding spot for his winning ticket underground. The 45-year-old, who is staying anonymous, told lottery officials he put the ticket in a jar and buried it in his yard until he could make arrangements to claim the prize. He says he was paranoid that something would happen to it in his house.
Bayonets! Give way, men!
Well, this is a scene from the reenactment of the Battle of Lexington, marking 250 years since the opening battle of the Revolutionary War. That battle was fought on this spot, now called Lexington Battle Green, on April 19, 1775. Known as the Battle of Lexington and Concord, the militias were able to push back the King's soldiers in what Ralph Waldo Emerson famously called the shot heard round the world. And racing to end the first 6 minutes of our news today. What's become an Easter tradition in San Francisco completed another lap on Sunday. It's the Bring Your Own Big Wheel race, where grown-ups channel their inner toddlers and take on the slopes of the city's crookedest street, also known as Vermont Street. Organizers say costumes are encouraged, helmets are mandatory, but your dignity is optional. It looks like a lot of fun.
It's like so much fun. Like, I would so do that.
I would too. I say that. But
Yeah, and then we just all just crash and burn. And
they had some hay bales along the side.
Yeah. I mean, we should definitely try something like that. And we'll have some very nice weather to head outside and maybe not do a three-wheeler thing with, but maybe walking around with your kids for that instead.
Okay, all right. Your full forecast right after the break, and coming up later.